Good evening, chat. How's it going? How's it going? Welcome to finally the playoffs of this interesting, short, truncated season, so to say. It's only going to be 2 playoff matches, and we're straight into the semifinals with a rematch from last week's official that actually mattered and decided who made it into playoffs, aka NANDEM and czuraci, deciding who will be going up against the finalists of my project. Well, later next week, I suppose, whenever they decide to have that match. Before we get ahead of ourselves, though, and start talking about the teams and analyzing every single bit that we could possibly talk about with the map picks and what they've decided. Hi, I'm Cerny, joined by JMax on the production and Beater on the mic. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's a heat wave, and I'm pretty much dying. But other than that, I'm doing great. And I remember the official last week. It was actually really fun. It was pretty close on both maps, I want to say. So I see no reason why this should be any different. And we've actually got map picks and everything, so we can even talk through the maps here if we really want to.
I mean, that's the whole point of the playoffs, is right? That they actually matter so much more than they do in the regular season, because you got to play everything kind of anyway. But now it matters. Now it decides. These teams have decided what they want to play and what they don't want to play. And as a little disclaimer to the viewers, to the chatters, this isn't actually all the maps. We just couldn't fit all of them onto the graphics. There's a couple that just don't show, that were banned at the end. But you can see what was picked. It's going to be Bagel, Sunshine, and then Metalworks as the deciders. So interesting choice of maps. Neither team really wanted to slow things down too much with a Snake Water or something like that in there right away. Interesting.
Yeah, actually, Snake Water was banned last. So I actually have the exact map pick bans here.
Right.
Got a nice little graphic. With czuraci, they banned product immediately, and then NANDEM banned process. So the pro maps are gone. And then Granary was also banned by NANDEM, and then Villa was banned by czuraci. Yes, we have Villa in this season. We haven't seen it played a whole lot, and we're not going to see it played tonight either. And then NANDEM picked, with the first pick, they picked Bagel. So they take the Koth map immediately. Then czuraci picked Sunshine and then banned out Reckoner, and then NANDEM had the choice between playing Snakewater or Metalworks, and they chose Metalworks. So that's the entire breakdown there. Is there anything that stands out to you, Cerny?
I mean, Bagel's always nice to see. I love me some Koth. I can see why czuraci didn't want to go on product. It's a bit of a nasty map, especially when you know that there could be a very good sniper on the enemy team. I mean, they have good scouts that can also offcast the sniper on the side of NANDEM, right? So that can always be something that can screw them over. Naturally, they have a response to that themselves as well. On the side of czuraci, they have very good players that can pick up that role. But at the end of the day, it's a fair choice. I don't think that surprised me that much. But then, obviously, being saddled with Bagel instead, you don't have to worry about it too much. It's the soldiers' playground a little bit more, right? You can just sit in the house, enjoy yourselves there. I'm sure Hans is going to be very happy just slipping in behind, as I've seen him do many a time on this map before. That man is a menace on the backlines whenever they're playing Bagel.
Yeah, that's like his summer residence. He just lives down there almost permanently. It's so annoying. I remember Silentus doing a very similar thing. And it's so difficult to stop because if you send a soldier back there or just have him stand there and be ready for him, he's just not going to do it, right? At least if he's good. At least with Silentus, it was just this whole chess game, it would seem like, to try and prevent him from doing any damage. You can try to stop him from getting back there, but if you commit too hard, then he's going to punish you in another place. Then they just aggressively take the house. So always a very fun thing to keep track of. And obviously those houses that you mentioned, I always just look at, especially for the mid fights, how do they try to take those houses, because that's usually where the first pick will come, where a soldier or a scout or both or everyone will try to commit in there and get a pick, and that's usually how the mid is initially started out. So always fun, and I really feel like this map lineup here, Cerny, see if you agree with that. It feels like, so we start with Bagel. That's a really high intensity map, just non-stop action, go. Then we play Sunshine. Sunshine's like a pretty normal map, maybe a little slow on last, but it's pretty normal, right? It's very much like Process, I feel like.
Yeah, in many ways.
And then we end up on Metalworks. So it just gets slower and slower and slower.
And they spared us from Snakewater, at least, right? It could have been even worse, theoretically.
Yeah, I've watched that for hours today, I feel like.
There's the NA LAN going on as well, that's true. They love their overtimes and all that. That doesn't make it worse. At least we don't have to worry about that, right? Like worst case, absolute worst case, Bagel isn't gonna take too long because it's Koff. And then we have at absolute worst case 45 minutes of map basically for the other two, right? So
Yeah.
even then, like we're still gonna come out ahead probably in terms of timing. Yeah, I mean that's interesting. Sunshine, it's a very basic choice, right? I feel like they could have picked probably any of the other 5CP maps. Went for Sunshine, fair enough. Decent enough pick.
Yep.
And I do find the Metalworks pick interesting because I feel like most teams would have probably preferred Snake as well. Like we always clown on it from a viewer's perspective or from a production perspective because it's so slow and like stalematey and tends to go maybe into golden caps a lot and run resets and that stuff. But I'm sure as a player, players love playing it still to an extent, right? There's something about it. It's probably still intense having to do those last holds for 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah, it has a very different feel to Metalworks just because the points are all very different. The mid plays differently, the second point plays differently, and even the last point plays quite differently. But in terms of pacing, it's actually quite similar, right? Where once you get stuck on last, you'll tend to stay there for a long while, and it can be quite difficult to push out. I want to say it's easier to push out on Metalworks because it's easier to cover every entrance, so there's less backcap chance. But if they have a demo man alive still, you still have to walk through those tiny doors and there can be sticky traps. And obviously, if there's a soldier alive, then you have to walk through some spam. It can be quite difficult still, but not in the terms of being backcapped. It's more of just overcoming the spam.
I feel like also on Metalworks as opposed to Snake, like the point is technically closer to spawn, but you do have that little wall, right? That's like kind of putting you between the spawn and the point, so it's a bit harder to retreat all that much on Metal. I feel like if you're holding Metal last, you have to commit a little bit more than you do on Snake. Like on Snake, it's a lot easier to get back into spawn, rotate around to the other side, get back out somewhat, as opposed to Metal at least. On Metalworks, you kind of have to commit almost. Because if you go back too far, you're not going to be at the front lines in time to defend some point pressure and stuff like that. So that also like changes the dynamic a little bit on the last holds. And obviously it's a bit smaller of a last as well. It's a bit closer. Like physically you are closer once you walk in. So you don't have to cover as much ground when you're on the attacking side, which is nice sometimes, I guess.
Yeah.
Not that much distance to a sentry, right? It's going to be right in your face and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay. If I remember correctly, the last time these two guys played, which was like the last time we saw an official, I think it was 5-1 in terms of points, right? Like I think the NANDEM won the golden cap in the first map, and then they won the second map outright.
Yes.
Something to that extent. So NANDEM are probably the favorites, and they have shown up with probably the best roster they can field, or at least something very close to it here. It's been a very weird season, and I don't think they've been scrimming too much, and they've very often shown up with like some half-baked rosters depending on who can make it and playing different classes. But tonight, NANDEM, they're looking very, very strong. They could probably... No, I don't even know if they have like a better demo man on the roster. Maybe is Sam actually playing this season?
I don't know. Is Fancy still rostered on their team?
Oh yeah.
Because like theoretically, if he were to play, he would probably be better than Blank. But it's not to say Blank. He's surprised me. He's actually done pretty well. I mean, last time we watched him play, he was also in the demo, and he was hanging with Lucas in a lot of situations, which was quite surprising. Maybe that was also because Lucas was maybe underperforming a bit, right? Was getting caught often, was under control more often than not. People were keeping him in check, but he was hanging, right? He was doing perfectly fine, adequately, and like being able to say that you're basically on par with one of, if not the best demo we have in Europe, is saying a lot. I think.
Yeah, and obviously, when Lucas is having a bad game, that's still really good in the grand scheme of things compared to other demos. So obviously SNH was having a great game. Is he the pocket scout? I think so. And then we also have Nation on scout. We got Ekta Coling and Breeze on soldiers. And then we've got good old, is it Blair on medic? Yeah, so that's the Czech team. And I've always just kind of thought of it as the Lucas team, but SNH has been an absolute monster this season. Really good stuff. And then on NANDEM, we've got Arcades, Blank, Haunts, Lardox, Pandemic, and Balder. So, as we said, very strong lineup here. We're coming up on Bagel. I think it's going to be very fast. So, do you have any bold predictions here, Cerny, as we're about to go live?
I think czuraci did their homework, and they're gonna come out swinging. Maybe with a round or two even. Whether they're gonna take the map after that, I don't know. I think NANDEM are the kind of team that will adjust quickly enough, even if they lose a couple of rounds, and could get close towards the end. But I have a feeling that there's a chance, at least, that czuraci's gonna come out swinging. They've been warming up. They did their homework, right? They're ready, rearing to go. Show that even with like a weird kind of semi-national team, I guess it is just a national team, right? They can
Pretty much,
still
yeah.
easily win Prem. I mean, it's not been many national teams that have managed to just win a regular Prem season. It's happened with the Frenchies recently, but they could also try to make that happen with the Czechs anyway. We're getting started. Bagel is underway, and we're making our way to that first little mid-fight straight away as both teams just, spam across the point. This is how Bagel usually starts off. It's a bit slow. Obviously, that's how Koff goes as well, but it's a bit slower even than in Product. Everybody's being a bit careful, just seeing what positioning they can grab. No soldiers bombing across any way whatsoever.
Oh, Hans is taking a fight against Coling on the flank. Looks like no one's getting punished there. No scouts in the way. Actually, SNH will be the first one to be picked off by Lardox. That's a bit pick. And I actually think they might just go get out of there. We see Breeze jumping behind. He wants to get on the medic.
Ooh.
Good first rocket.
Not quite.
Seconds away from getting the second one.
Yeah, I couldn't quite land the second one. Arcades just lives with 80 HP, and it's gonna have to get out of that one for now. But both still have the Ubers ready, even though the positioning isn't great for czuraci so far. They're gonna be trying to force themselves in here a little bit with that Uber in tow as well. Hans out of the equation means they don't have to worry about that bomb coming their way either. And getting a bit of point pressure down now, because there's a nice chance to perhaps turn the clock in their favor at some point here. But it looks like there's just going to be an exchange. Ball is going to take it straight across into the enemy team here. Lucas eats a lot of damage, but will live.
It's just not looking at him.
Milking for so long. If the enemies are looking at you, it's hard to read what they're doing. And I guess it worked out. Manages to milk it for very long. Lardox dies as well. And they clean up Balder. It's actually looking pretty nice right now for czuraci. You do have to worry about Hans behind. But the rest of the team is kind of scrambling, scattering away from the side of NANDEM. They're not really contesting the point at all anymore, and czuraci are in control. It looks like Hans got out as well, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, he actually got out. So he's just out of there. He actually takes a fight, then wins it against Coling. Really good job. Actually, Nation has jumped behind. You coming in here on the medic. 3 good shots, 4 shots will kill him there. Great flank by Nation. Everyone's dead except for 2 players. Breeze is still fighting. Actually wins against...
Lardox? Oh! Okay! He was also seconds away from a crafting player into a diamond, because one hit from that pickaxe would have done it, but just not quite there. Gets protected well enough. That's going to be a big Uber ad now for czuraci as well. They're not forward holding though. They didn't have the players for it, so NANDEM are right back into this fight. They know the Uber isn't quite there just yet, and if they can get like an early force or just sack themselves here somehow, that could make quite the difference for them. And I mean, getting just a frag onto Coling to open things up, traded out for Hans, unfortunately, but still, might just help them a little bit. Even then, they're just staying in this regardless, sticking in this fight as best they can, and certainly making themselves...
He's about to jump Lardox, I think. Actually, Lardox gets pumped into the midpoint there, and it will eventually get picked up. It took a lot of damage. Aggression across the point from SNH and Nation as well. Nation is Misha, I should mention that. Just in case anyone gets confused. But it's just a big fight here over the middle, but they're not relenting. Both teams have Uber now. And this is actually really nice here for czuraci, because that just means they can pop the Uber to hold on to the point for even longer. So this is basically just another mid-fight, so it will just have both teams standing off.
Yeah, probably an exchange incoming fairly soon as well, and they bought themselves so much time on the side of czuraci. They're going to be the first to use as well. It's going to be a slightly later Uber for the side of NANDEM. It's going to be slightly less flashing as well. Actually, a little bit more. They're going to fade around the same time. Now with the post-Uber positioning, this is going to be where it gets interesting. Who's going to have the damage to clean up players? Where they choose. Coling again dying on the flank, but it's the only player to fall so far. It's still enough for NANDEM to keep moving forward, and with SNH falling as well, it looks like that is going to be a point now secured for NANDEM, but they have a minute of difference to burn off the clock now, and they really got to make it stick, because if czuraci can get back in on this, it's going to look a bit dire for them. And that forward hold, well, it's going to try to hold strong at least. There goes Coling again. Unfortunate.
Yeah. Diffused the sticky trap there with his own body. Well done. But that does enable them to actually go out here on the right side. And both soldiers were holding on the left, and they're both behind right now. Keep an eye on that. They might just decide to bomb in. They haven't made their move just yet. See, everyone's just kind of jumping around. Yeah, okay.
They're just
decided
out.
Not to go for that at all. They got Breeze as well. It's just going to be a regular fight.
Yeah, and I mean, the point flips, so it's still going to be advantage here for czuraci at the end of the day. The time is ticking in their favor, even if Breeze is going to get a slower spawn. they have Uber. They don't have to worry about too much just yet. He's going to be back in the fight by the time that fades, so realistically, it's going to be on whether that force comes out, and Blair does get forced by Pandemic as he flanks in, so it's going to be a nice little aggression here coming out of the side of czuraci, but they're not really getting the force out of the other side, which is what they really wanted out of it at the end of the day, and they can't even get the frag onto Boulder either. SNH beefing a few too many shots, and Arcades hangs with that Uber ad, has a big one to work with. Now there's a couple of soldiers here that might want to have a word with it on the side of the checks, but they're not really close in a position to bomb, and getting denied any grounds they would really want as well. Managed to win the fight against Hans for once, Calling, but just narrowly escaping with his life, and that Uber's still in tow for NANDEM means they're gonna grab that point, and they're gonna be able to hang on to it for quite a while here, but they also have to, because they're still a minute down.
Yeah, Breeze is still in this awkward position in the house. I think they know about him. It seems like they're trying to hunt him. Okay, there we go. They finally do find him. Are gonna get taken down there. Breeze gonna leave his team in the one-man disadvantage here. Lucas leading the charge. There's 15 seconds remaining on the clock here for czuraci. So if they just cap it out, they're going to be in a very good position. But they were one man down to start this. They lose Nation as well on the flank. They're calling Craters, unable to gain any space here. So a really nice hold so far. Just an Iron Man hold right now coming out of NANDEM. Sorry.
Yeah, they're holding this forward very, very well and doing so much damage as well, just denying these czuraci players from even getting in. Lucas eats so much damage every single time he tries to go anywhere. Finally, they just decide to Uber through with SNH on the solo. Lardox is the only one to fall in that Uber, though, as the exchange comes out. Now it's going to be on the post positioning again, and it's looking a lot better for NANDEM. They just have players all over the place, being able to pick off whoever gets caught. That being said, Hans gets straight out for Breeze, and, okay, Coling eventually cleaned up as well. Balder feasting a little bit on these soldiers now, but all it takes is this point to be flipped, and suddenly czuraci's looking really good as well. Timers are close on both sides. It looks like NANDEM are still firmly in control of the point for the time being. Blair is the only player really up ahead, with Nation as well, trying to maybe get to this point in time, but the time is just wearing down. They're not going to get to there in time. Oh, just closely. Barely. Yeah. But getting denied anyway.
It came really fast. There we go. Really nice cleanup. All of a sudden it happens. And yeah, they're just going to have to jump in. Lucas with the Hail Mary jump. Not there in time. And a really good cleanup. I really noticed how much damage Blank was actually doing in that last fight. It really feels like sometimes in these fights, it's just whichever demo man can hit a pipe. That's going to make the big difference, right? And yeah, in that fight, that was Blank. So huge plays coming out of him. Again, hanging out with Lucas just fine here. And that's going to be the first round for NANDEM. Got another mid-fight incoming here. Let's see if they mix it up or if it's just going to be the same old, same old. I didn't see either team commit super hard to any house or flank. It just kind of was some spam that got the job done here for the first picks. We'll see what happens this time around.
Perhaps taking it a little bit slow again. Matter of fact, nobody committing to either side of the house either. They don't want to be the one in there. Lardox finally setting foot in there a little bit, as Coling does the same on the other side, but there's just a bit of spam coming down now, and he's managing to get that done. Unfortunately for them, though, Arcades just kind of walked into Lucas' sticky trap and dies for his troubles. Now they have to just manage to keep Blair alive on the other side, and, well, luckily for them, even if they all have to lay down their lives for it, Blair is out of harm's way, well into the spawn of the check side here. And czuraci are gonna net themselves a big fat Uber advantage to work with. And the point is not even getting capped either, so they're gonna have a nice chance here unless Hans has a word with it, but no, he gets cleaned up eventually, so.
Yeah, there was just no way. There's just so many players between him and the medic there, and it's pretty funny there, just seeing Lucas lay out the blue carpet, and then Arcade is just stepping on it, blowing up. Alright, we got another soldier jumping into the high zone.
One pipe was separating him from that medic drop there. Well, perhaps at least. He still had quite a bit left, but that was scary. The suicide wave does come through, but Blair still holds on. Lucas is the only one to fall for it, and they're trading players left and right. Now the Uber comes out as well, and they do chase down Arcades. That's a very important frag to get there with that Uber. You've effectively just gotten the free one now. You can go straight back to capping the point and holding on to. Matter of fact, nobody's capped the point yet. I've just realized that now. This still hasn't even started ticking down the time. We've been in this round for over a minute already, and nobody's capped the point up until this very point in time. That's
was behind as well, picked off Lucas there. Nice pick for him. That's going to make it a lot easier for them to push in. They can just walk through any doorway that they so choose and put pressure on the point immediately. There will not be sticky traps. Lucas is only now just spammed here. You can see they are just in so deep, so fast. And now it's just going to be another fight here. Looks like it's going to be Nation in the house trying to keep the soldiers at bay. Yeah, this time around it's going to be Balder falling for the carpet.
Well, it was like a nice little synced up sticky and all that. It worked really well. Lucas showing again why he's one of the best in the world, even though he eats a lot of damage and has to get out, but still, they're laying down the damage. Arcadie's eating a lot as well, meaning they just have to back off so much, and suddenly they're getting flanked by the entire flank of czuraci. They're not accomplishing much on that, mind you, and they have to back off the rest of the team, but still, they pressure back NANDEM so much. No captain being put down at all. Blair eating a little bit of damage as Hans slips on through again, and that's a scary thing to retreat into. SNH is really going to have to bring his A-game here, and Blair is going to drop for his troubles, unfortunately.
Yeah, he just comes in so fast that you don't even expect it. Second soldier was also kind of behind the lines there, but Largs will be able to get out there. Breeze will go down to Boulder. This is looking really, really strong here. Everyone's just coalescing around or gathering around their medic here. Arcadie's so safe. Looks like they once again are going to do this hold with the double soldier on the right side and then the demo man and 2 scouts on the left. Or maybe 1 scout in the middle, so to speak. But that's kind of the setup here. But it's only 1 soldier right now. You can see the other soldier is actually being kind of overwhelmed because there's only 1 of them. So far, this spam has been really strong. You see, Lucas went down really slow. They're down low, sorry. And they're going to have to change something up here. Maybe just sack a soldier in to gain some ground. And there we go.
Space program for Coling as he just gets sent straight into the skybox. Unfortunately, doesn't find anything. Lardox gets traded out though in the meantime. And at the end of the day, trading 1-for-1 is still a lot better for you if you're trying to break the forward hold. You're going to have a little bit less stuff to go through as Lucas eats a lot more trying to lead the charge here. Finally get out onto his concrete side, but just eating so much, and SNH actually just gets meat-shotted down immediately on the other side. And, well, just caught in the crossfire. They're doing such a magnificent job with this forward hold, NANDEM. Even though the Uber is now ready for the side of czuraci, they're still not in a position to really make much use of it. Plus, their pocket scout is out of the equation for the time being. They're just burning so much time off this clock. They were down a minute, and now they're up, well, by about half a minute at this point. So they're doing well with that as the Ubers finally do get exchanged. NANDEM having to scatter a little bit,
so
but
deep.
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't get chased. Alright, I was getting nervous here. So they finally did gain all the ground that they needed to here, but Soldier comes in, Lardox, big bomb in there, gets some good damage onto Lucas, gets followed up on here by Pandemic and another soldier as well. Lardox.
They're down as well. That's not looking good. Oh, they do find Arcadie's though. That's crucial. That's absolutely crucial here to try and keep themselves in this. Arcadie's going down. They're still not in control of the point, but what could have been a disaster now for czuraci, right? With their medic going down in that situation, has now turned into something that is actually like salvageable and workable. Because they're gonna have a bit of an ad. There's no position for really much of a forward hold. A couple of, flank stragglers here as Hans gets caught trying to be a bit too aggressive, and looks like czuraci actually have a chance here now. So maybe put some pressure on this point, flip themselves back into the lead as Lardox is on over bomb once more, but doesn't really find much. Calling dies on the other side, and it's just an endless trading back and forth for soldiers, but Lucas dying opens things up wonderfully for NANDEM.
Yeah, they lost 2 players to get it though, so they're just gonna have to retreat. A good retreat here from Blank, but the flank actually comes in. What a rocket there! Breeze just did a speed jump. Really, really excellently executed here. Soldier actually is gonna come in, see if he can find something. Lardox, he wants that medic pick here to try and equalize the situation. Oh, missed him there a bit. This ended up launching himself, but still alive actually. So Lardox will be behind lines, causing a headache here for his soldiers. And the rest of his team are actually going to just be able to cap out midpoint here. Lardox very weak at this point, so is Breeze. But Breeze has a spawn he can run through.
Yeah, and Lardox is not. Unfortunately for the side of czuraci, he still lives. He got the pack. Finally, they clean him up. And he wasted so much time. Look at the clock difference at this point. 1.5 minutes extra that czuraci now have to hang on to this point for. With that Uber ad, they certainly have a nice opportunity to do so. Mounting the forward hold here as well, basically have to. They have no choice but to try and kill as much time as possible for the clock of NANDEM to be equalized. And Hans is already in, being a bit of a nuisance as well. There's a second soldier getting floated in the sky as well. Neither of them can really get through, but they do find Breeze. And that's going to slow things down for this forward hold. He's going to be out of the equation for quite a while, and Coling has to pick up the slack trying to hold down his lobby somehow, but there's going to be more people coming his way fairly soon, and that Uber is also ready, so it's going to be on NANDEM trying to break this hold the best way they can, and I think it's just going to be pure brute force at this point as they just send themselves in straight through main with the Uber. Blair, nobody near anybody, has to just pop on nothing. Finally manages to connect with somebody as Nation is the only one to fall on the other side, but still, it's a bit better of an Uber here for the side of czuraci, at least for the time being, and they managed to hang on to this right side, but the lower side is open, wide open for NANDEM to take their ground back.
Slowly making their way forward here. They pushed everyone back. There's no one behind them. They actually know where both soldiers are. They got one in each house. So once they cap this out, there's only 6 seconds remaining. So you can see czuraci, they really don't want to let that happen. They are on 20 seconds themselves. So this is getting mighty close here, certainly. And you can really feel the tension ratcheting up here. We've got a scout trying to put pressure on the point here. Very far forward play here from Blank. Not really getting any kills here, but finally, there we go. Hans gets taken down by Lucas Tank. That could definitely make a big difference here. They're actually going to cap it out anyway, though. 5 seconds. They need to stay on this point. And this is a big fight.
Oh, they get it anyway.
Oh, the Ubers doesn't get there in time, sir.
From under the noses. Just from under the noses. Turns out NANDEM were just pressured a little bit too much. They couldn't commit to protecting the point at all. Maybe we're hoping, as you were also hinting at, that Uber would come up in time, but it just wasn't there in time. They were just not quite fast enough, and czuraci basically steal the point from right under their noses, get away with it, and now we're 1-all into the next round straight away. It's a close game so far, and something tells me it's going to continue being that way.
Yeah, half a second made all the difference there. That is nothing in the grand scheme of things here. We've got our third mid going 1-1 here. I didn't make a prediction. I was thinking 3-1 for NANDEM. So I don't know if you want to say that's a good or bad prediction so far. I just want to say it before it got too far in and it would sound lame, you know?
It's still feasible at this point at least, so yeah, it's still reasonable. I guess we'll see after this round. So far so good, nobody really committing too much just yet, right? Just the old classic peeking and prawn, a little bit more point pressure this time around, but looks like Blank is going to be the first to fall, followed up by Hans. The side of NANDEM falling as well. This opens things up a little bit for the Czechs here, as Breeze tries to send himself across before dying himself, but putting down a bit of damage on Arcades means you're gonna have to play a bit more carefully for NANDEM, even if 2 scouts are ready for this Chariot Uber potentially, and Lucas eats a lot of damage having to be popped on eventually, so it's actually gonna be an earlier Uber here for czuraci with NANDEM very late themselves, having to basically just force, but still, it's so much better of an Uber for them, and they can clean up anything that is even remotely close. And now, with the players suddenly flipping in favor of NANDEM, and Blair eating a lot of aggression here from both soldiers, it looks like this could be a 1-mid fight for NANDEM.
Yeah, there we go. We still got some soldiers jumping in here, getting some good picks here.
We got Arcades at least, yeah.
Yeah, it's a fight. And this is going to make a whole kind of deal very, very unlikely to actually happen here. So I kind of like this extra aggression. I don't like Lucas dying right before all of this. They might get 1 pick. Nope. Actually, okay, Flags almost got out there, but I have noticed that the NANDEM soldiers are playing really aggressive in flank and they're not really being contested, but on the other hand, that means that they don't have as much presence in the middle point, and that's actually why Blank went down. So it's kind of interesting how that's playing out. Definitely keep an eye on that as this match continues on here. Lucas just warning everyone off with just a rain of stickies. As Nation, he saw Arcades, got him down to 5 HP, unable to hit the last shot though. And that's going to be a really nice little advantage here. Arcades almost saw his life flash before his eyes. He has a slightly less Uber here, so actually if SNH got popped onto Arcades, they could kill him. But I don't think they realized. Maybe they do.
They try to at least get something down. Even just getting a pink onto Blank would be nice here, but instead SNH just decides to send himself behind as the Uber gets disconnected and Blair immediately dies. But hey, he gets the kill onto Blank at least. Hans is also dead, so there's still a chance here for czuraci to immediately re-aggress, and there you go. 3 players for the medic. It's enough to get him out of the equation. Lucas, the only one, this whole one-man army standing. Unfortunately, that's going to be a bit tougher, but hey, maybe, you know, maybe there's a trade in there, but it wasn't. Still, they managed to salvage what was a pretty bad Uber at the end of the day, right? They didn't really accomplish much with it, didn't find their targets, and still didn't come out too bad at the end of the day. A bit of bruise, but the time's not too bad. They're right back in this, and more importantly, the Ubers are still equal.
Yeah, nothing, something that Pandemic and Baldur can't just salvage post Uber here. Big bomb in there from Lonox. Gets Nation. Oh my god, just shoots up at Breeze as well.
Oh my god.
Massive bomb.
Okay.
As he's gonna keep on going. He's just a machine. Look at that. That's 4 kills basically. Just all on Lonox. That's crazy good play from him.
Wonderful. That is crazy. That's... If there was a chance at czuraci coming back into this round now, it has very quickly started fizzling out now. There was an opportunity there, and now things are looking quite dire. They're down more than a minute and a half at this point, and down the Uber as well, back in the forward hold that is also notoriously difficult to bust here, but NANDEM didn't quite get it set up in time, so actually, they have an opportunity to at least get out to the point here. Now if they can get the pressure onto Arcades, get that force out, maybe even a drop, or just an early Uber use if you can keep your own medic safe, as Blair just serves out beautifully out of harm's way. The only players to fall there gotta be Coling and SNH. That trade out for an Uber, I think that's pretty decent. I think that if you're gonna have to do that, 2 players for an Uber is something, but also 2 players for 30 more seconds off the clock. You don't have all the time in the world to work with. Breeze dying as well. It's only going to slow you down more, and czuraci are feeling the heat. It's do or die time. They got to get to this point quickly.
Yeah, they really wanted to catch out the Blair there, but unfortunately just barely didn't make it in there. He got one good sticky on him, but that's all he had. Then he was around the corner. But we've really seen them struggle to break these forwards hold, right? And this time around, they're not going to waste time. They're just going to Uber in, get momentum, and the scout immediately.
Yep.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
Arcades dies.
Beautiful. Lucas bombing in right aggressively. That's what you need to see here. 3 players down. Unfortunately, a lot of pressure still onto Blair, though. Not quite hitting the damage, though. Boulder not getting what he needs there. Haun's in as well with deep bomb. Not going to be doing anything. Blank, the only player left, and he's out. He knows that they have time to work with. This is the nice thing for NANDEM here, right? Even if they lost the point now, they got all the time in the world to work with, buddy. They got plenty of time on that clock. They have a lot of opportunities to send stuff out here, and czuraci have to be clinical from this point forward.
Yeah, this got up in Uber in play for quite a long time, and the jumper soldier through the sticky trap immediately. So they busted this right side. I really like how NANDEM are doing this. It really feels like that's not something czuraci has been doing at all. They always go for the smaller doors, and they get spammed out really heavily. This time around, they just bust in through the big door, and that's going to be that. They even get a kill on the back lines as well. So this is looking so good for NANDEM. Uber is about to come in here, so they need to be careful. All right, they force out the Uber, so to speak. Boulder goes down. They're going to keep on chasing.
KD's.
Oh, they get him. That's some money, Uber.
No man's land, just completely caught out. Unfortunately for NANDEM, that's a wasted minute. I mean, Lardox is still in this. You could certainly throw a wrench in the plans here, but doesn't. Does get cleaned up, and czuraci stay in control. That's crucial there as well, because there's actually a lot of cap time they managed to put down throughout that. Again, if they had just capped the point, they would have won the round, right? So czuraci still have to be careful, even throughout all of that. They come out on top here. Again, they have about 20% ad now to work with, but they need to stay on top of it. Another opportunity like that for NANDEM, and they might just make it stick, and then you're in trouble as Lardox gets himself through that forward hold again, manages to bust it open, and Haun's going down. Okay, they find Pandemic as well. Trade out for Coaling, though. They're still gonna have to fight this anyway. NANDEM not really in that much of an opportunity to have waste that time. And they get
just want to fight on the flank here. He's in behind. See, okay. Actually goes down, but it's all just a big distraction as everyone else walk forward. Okay. Capped out the point. That's going to be 2-1 for NANDEM.
Looks like czuraci forgot about the point. they just backed off too much and didn't realize that. Wait a second, guys, we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose if they just stand on it. Wait a minute. Oh well, that's 2-1 now for side of NANDEM. Match point, I suppose, and perhaps an opportunity for your prediction that it was made a bit too late, but whatever, to come through. I guess the rates aren't going to be as good now on the conversion, unfortunately, if you made your bet halfway through the match. But hey.
Yeah, gambling sites would not accept this. I don't think so.
Oh well, they're still going to give you like a small return if it's right, because at the end of the day it's right, but hey. First things first, another mid-fight that separates NANDEM from potentially taking map 1 right away, or from czuraci taking it to an equalized position and giving themselves the best possible opportunity to claw it back. But you're gonna have to get through this first, and you know what, finding the frag onto Baller there certainly opens things up nicely. Arcades eats a lot of damage as well, so being a bit dangerous of a position here. Blank getting taken down. It's a modern mid-fight for czuraci, all but that, and yeah, even if NANDEM can try to salvage something with a little trade or something, nope. Hans doesn't manage to do anything. Pandemic got cleaned up as well, so it's a pretty easily won mid. The saving grace, the silver lining for NANDEM, though, is Arcades lived, got his Uber in store, and it's a good chance they'll just go for that exchange here.
Yeah, I'm looking here. Yeah, they're going to jump a soldier through the big door again and then bust through it once the stick is blown. That seems so much easier than doing it the other way around on the other side, going through the double soldier spam. I gotta say, I like that forward bust technique way more than whatever czuraci was doing here. Still, they managed to trade out a lot of players here. In general, you want to trade out when you're the team attacking here. It's just going to be SNH and Midge Medic. But you can see players kind of like, I don't want to join you that far forward. I'm just going to get forced immediately. And I think SNH somehow manages to survive.
How is he alive?
I don't know. He should be dead 2 times over, but he's alive.
This guy has an absolutely insane passive, just invulnerability stat. He's somehow getting away with way more than he should. Holding, let's get traded out for Lardox eventually, but Either medic, you're having the Uber going across the point. That's a blank caught out of it before the exchange can hit him. And even if the beam is slightly better here for the side of NANDEM, they're also spread thin. There's Boulder just left alone, getting killed. And Arcades trying to live, will not escape either. It's a bloodbath for the Czechs here. The only saving grace could potentially be this Hans bomb that he does manage to get the Blair kill with. But they're still on control of the point. They're still down half of the clock. And even if they're going to start getting some time on there now, they're going to have to, well, be in control for a while. With Hans still being behind as well. Bit of a menace there on the back line. Hasn't been found yet either. Coling hasn't found him. And he's right there in position. Alright, well, never mind. Misha finds him. Alright.
Perfect timing there from Nation, just as Hans was looking the other way. I don't know how he does that. That's just, that was pretty lucky there.
It's a CS classic, you know?
Yeah.
If you're watching the doorway the entire time, as soon as you look away, somebody walks through it. It just happens to the best of us. Unfortunate, and I'm not going to be able to do much with that flank, but hey, they're in control for now. They've got slight Uber ad to work with as well. It's probably not going to be much to write home about, but, you know, if they can keep these czuraci players at bay for a while, they might be able to just aggress across, and getting Lucas out of the equation is certainly going to make things a little bit easier. Potentially.
Uber is now in play. We can see they're kind of surging forward here, maybe looking for someone, but this freeze bomb should definitely shut down all the aggression, but unfortunately for him, he was unable to get that last rocket onto Arcades, so he doesn't get the force out, but things are gonna just stabilize a little bit here. Players about to have the Uber, and they can do a normal push here, and you can see there are a bunch of respawners going on. In general, that will favor the attacking team that doesn't hold mid quite a bit more because they have shorter respawns. So if you can just take an even fight, so to speak, where you're just kind of bleeding off players on both teams, keep trading 1-to-1, that favors the attacking team. So that's kind of how it's balanced in this game mode here. But anyways, Arcades will pop his Uber here. It's just going to be two invulnerable scouts looking for things to kill, and actually they find two players there on the side. I really loved how they just walked in on the flank there from NANDEM. They picked off two players. Ooh. Great stuff.
Nice little trade there for Breeze and Lardox, though. They do trade each other out on the flank, and Blair, now in a lot of harm's way here, is not going to be able to keep himself alive, is he? Surely not. Gets get cleaned up as the entire might of the NANDEM Empire just falls down upon him. Eventually gets cleaned up, and it's looking very nice all of a sudden for NANDEM. They were down a bit at the start of the round, and now they've not only flipped the timer in their favor, they are actually looking quite nice for the rest of this as well. Forward hold, big Uber ad. Looks like czuraci have wisened up a little bit to busting this hold on the right side here, but also, NANDEM weren't really holding all that far forward on that side. They were trying to go for a bit of a flank into the lobby. They know they got a big Uber ad to work with, and if Blair's too aggressive here, this could very much bite them. They're not going to be able to get that Uber out of the equation. You know, NANDEM kind of feeling themselves, but realizing, not quite the position to be in. Hans as well going down. Going to make things a little bit harder. Eventually, they go for the Uber. They got a lot of damage here onto Blair. Doesn't quite find the pipe, though. And he might just be disconnected. And this Boulder, no, he can't get him. That medic will live.
Oh, Lucas doesn't get the crucial pick there. And meanwhile, Blair is just all the way back in spawn. He didn't have anyone to heal. So, you know, if he had been healing the entire time, he probably would have had Uber at this point. Now, instead, he's going to have to wait quite a bit here. So there's actually this big, long period of danger where he can't pop his Uber. And this is a do or die fight. If they lose this fight, they will just lose the round immediately. We're in overtime again situation here, so they can take it easy. Once NANDEM capped once, game's over.
And that's not something that you want to see if you're cheering for czuraci, as SNH just gets floated on the flank. Can't quite chase that time around. You're gonna be out of the equation for now, buddy. That's just gonna put a little bit of a spanner in the works here. That guy is a big playmaker for the Czech side, and they're just gonna have to use his Uber across, seeing what they can do with it. They find Arcades immediately. That's crucial in keeping the chances alive for this round. They still have to hold on to the point for 50 more seconds. It doesn't sound like a lot of time, but it's the world in King of the Hill. And with Pandemic still behind, as well as Lardox, they got a lot to worry about here on the side of the czuraci's Czech players. Blank bombing in as well.
That's a lot of, So strong. And there we go, you were right. That took about 15 seconds to have all of that happen. I don't think anyone's making their time. That's going to be that. NANDEM cap off the point. And off of just the really good aggressive play there with everyone jumping in. That's going to be 3-1. NANDEM, they take map 1.
You were spot on. Too bad the house won't accept your bet.
Yeah. I don't think it hold up in court when you say it that late, if I'm being honest.
Can't have to just live with your fantasy football or whatever. That's all you're getting out of this one. Oh well.
Yeah.
nice performance out of NANDEM there, and czuraci showing that their rounds were all close, right? So they were certainly still fighting tooth and nail for everything there. Might spell a story for what we're about to see on Sunshine, but it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the logs now, and I can see we were talking about SNH and Lucas, and they went huge, both of them. They both have 462 and then 428 DPM. SNH has the highest one, and
Yeah,
it
sounds
feels
about
like,
right.
yeah, I really like the Lucas Ubers. They very consistently killed the enemy medic. Like Arcades was fearing that Uber just flying in there, and of course Blink also has 400 DPM. The DPMs are crazy in this game. Lowest DPM is 237 on Nation.
Yeah, sounds like a cough match, I think.
Yeah.
Everybody just going aggressive, go forward at all times, and it shows. But look at that just solid block of NANDEM players here. I mean, we're sorted by damage, but still. I mean, Blank's still putting down 400 damage as well, right? Like, he was hanging. That's what I'm saying. Like, he was hanging with Lucas. He's right in there. Despite, at least traditionally, I think most people, if they've seen Blank play in sixes, not expecting him to be much of a demo main, right? He's done well on Soldier, he's done well on Scout. Picking up the demo class for what I'm assuming is like the first few times now in the last couple of weeks on like in officials at least in Prem, and hanging in there beautifully.
Yeah, it's a big difference between just having a good game on demo man in a pug and just playing actual demo man for reals for serious. Everyone's gunning for you, trying to pick you off every time you even like put your nose in front of like the imaginary line on middle. There's a big difference in Prem, I don't want to say, but he's been doing really well. Very impressive stuff. You don't get players much more scary to actually deal with than Lucas, and yeah, he did well, very much so. The Lucas Ubers were still like outrageously good.
Yes.
I don't want to underplay that at all, but I really feel like the big difference there was the coordination on NANDEM just seems so much better. They were really good at cleaning up everyone, and the forward holds were just such a pain for czuraci to break. It took them forever, and there was just minutes of time being gained on that account.
By the end, they seem to have learned, after it being done to them a couple of times, they realized, wait a minute, we can just go through the lower big door and like bust the soldier through there, and oh, look at that, it works out, right? But by that time, NANDEM also kind of stopped doing the forward holds the traditional way, right? But I think it's like, as you say, there's like basically 2 entire rounds that were won off the back of those forward holds, and czuraci just not really figuring out how to get through them.
Yeah, and that just felt like a microcosm of the bigger problem, was just the better coordination coming out of NANDEM, where they were just playing better in those situations where there was any kind of sustained team fight going on. Really felt like there was some better coordination on NANDEM's side. So it's not just like a DM like superiority thing going on. It's always very tempting to just put everything down to that, right? But just like, oh, they had better DM, they just hit every shot. That's why they're better though. But usually that's not actually how you win games, although it helps.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly flipped a lot of fights when Lucas or SNH suddenly just started doing insane damage or going across killing 3 people just by themselves, right? Again, putting the team really on their shoulders, those two being the foundation of that czuraci team, basically, right? The 2 most experienced players on the team really showing what they're made of. But at the end of the day, it is a whole team that you need, and so far NANDEM has been the better overall team performance across the board, right? Like they might, yeah, Lucas might be better than Blank, and then SNH might be better than, say, Balder. But at the end of the day, that's only 2 players against the 4 that are getting diffed the other way, and it makes a difference at the end of the day. That being said, Bagel is more DM heavy like that, and it is a bit more chaotic. Sunshine should be a bit more normal, right? It should slow down a bit, and when strategy starts mattering more, I mean, at least last week, for instance, that's when we saw czuraci actually make some waves. When the strategies come into play, and it's not just pure chaos and pure DM,
yeah,
they do a lot better.
Yeah, also I want to point out that NANDEM picked Bagel, and then czuraci picked Sunshine. So in that way, it's a little bit predictable as well, and czuraci should be more comfortable on Sunshine as well. And also those type of Ubers that I've been praising work really well on Sunshine. Right? A demo man Uber with a scout where you cut off the medic so you can't get through a door. Yeah, that's basically what you want to do on Sunshine in your Ubers, if everything goes to plan. So hopefully we get to see a couple of those again.
Certainly a good chance for that. I mean, yeah, second especially, right? Trying to get them caught in the shutter or something like that will work
Yeah.
beautifully wonderfully for the side of czuraci if they so choose. That being said, they need to keep their head in the game, right? They did just lose a rather close map, even though the scoreline won't suggest it. And they can't let fatigue or anything like that settling in as well. It's only map 2. It's gonna be a bit of a long-ish series, I suppose, if they go for the third. But yeah, I'm really rooting for them to be on top this year. Not trying to be too biased or whatever, but from what I've seen so far, they're definitely capable. They're definitely capable of punching well above their weight. Because especially, I think, heading into the season as well, I don't think a lot of people necessarily expected this Czech team to be doing this well. Like, people expect, yeah, okay, they're probably going to be up there, maybe trade some
Yeah.
maps at some point, and they trade a lot of maps throughout the season, but to, like, be punching like this in the Prem playoffs against teams of unarguably across the board, basically more experienced players is quite something.
Yeah, and I don't even think you can just say, it's just Lucas carrying everything.
Yeah.
That's not what it feels like at all. Like, obviously, he's a big part of why they're so successful, but yeah, there's a lot of really good players here, and you can really feel that they've been playing together for a while. It actually feels like a real team.
Yeah.
And in a season like this, I feel like that counts for a lot. So even with that said, I think NANDEM's going to win this maybe 4-2 or something like that. That would be my guess.
I can see them trading a lot of rounds here. These teams tend to be quite aggressive, right? We haven't really seen throughout the season in either team really stalling all that often. They like the low round games haven't really low round maps haven't really been all that common. So I can see them trading a few rounds back and forth. So I guess we'll see. I don't disagree with your assessment, but I guess if czuraci come out swinging on that first mid fight, there's a chance that they can find themselves right back in this as the teams are getting ready, rearing to go, and we'll know in 30 minutes whether we have a second place contender in Prem for this season that is going to be all Czech, or that is going to be the NANDEM mix circle jerk team, whatever, I guess, right? Second map, Sunshine underway, first mid fight. Lucas opting for the flowers rollout, as you do, as you do, I say, as Blank went for the other one. And it's looking like it's already a better mid-positioning-wise, at least for the side of NANDEM here. They've got a lot more ground right away early on. Matter of fact, Breeze is completely bullied out of the mid-fight entirely.
Oh,
that's
Blank
two players
is so
there.
aggressive, and he actually wins the fight there as
My
well.
God.
Yeah, this is looking real bad here, but actually both medics do go down. So it is going to be a little bit of a messy conclusion to the mid. Breeze is on point, but this scout, just comes in, has no health. He's not being shot at, so it doesn't matter. And there we go. It was pretty interesting to see how Blank went for the faster roller, but he didn't have a medkit, so he was like on 84 HP, but then he locked out Lucas for quite a while. So kind of got a little bit going forward.
Coling cutting off Blank from that cap, not getting that early time down. Blank was being a bit eager, maybe, perhaps, trying to lock down that second early, but wasn't going to happen. Didn't have enough backup with him either, and it's not going to be as easy for them. They're going to have to actually fight for this one as they finally come in with their team, collect a lot of ground for their troubles, and manage to even avoid a lot of damage. Hans comes around with the bomb beautifully, directly straight on top of Blair. Beautifully done. No heals for the side of czuraci, meaning this is going to be a very hard fight for them to turn around, especially because Arcades is so safe and secure all the way back. And it's only Misha and Coling trying to get back to last, set up some sort of hold here, as the full might once more of the NANDEM Empire is staring down their sights.
What a god bomb. Takes down Lucas and the medic there. Lucas just now putting some stickies on the point here. They want to play point really badly here. Arcades has only now just popped Uber. And yeah, Blair is just way out of position. Gets picked off there. Coling dies as well. They're just going to clean everyone up one at a time. They haven't gotten the demo yet, but I think they've gotten enough where it just does not matter. Everyone's being picked off one by one. Point comes out of left. They lost 0 players in that push there. This could not have been a better round here for NANDEM, I feel like. Technically, it could have been faster, but just the way they got that medic pick with the good bomb after a scrappy mid, that's got to feel good for NANDEM.
Yeah, like the only way that would have gone better is if Arcades just lived on mid and they just rolled it from there, right? But instead, they still get away with it for free basically anyway, because Hans just gets away with one of the best bombs of his career probably. And here we are, second mid fight. Blank again, faster, boxing out Lucas once more, but Lucas has his team back him up, and all it takes is one sticky to give Blank a little bit of trouble here, as finally czuraci arrive to the mid fight as well, get themselves a lot of ground on the cafe side. Matter of fact, the entire team just slips on through. Lucas unfortunately does get picked off actually, but the rest of the team is there to try and follow up for a little bit of trouble, get a bit of revenge. Unfortunately, 3 of them have fallen. Blair just narrowly escaping with SNH in tow. And Blank is already in on the chase as well. They do cut off the scout. SNH laying down his life to keep his medic safe. And he will still be getting chased by everybody on this NANDEM team. They will not be able to cut him off, surely. He will be able to get defended here by Lucas, but Lucas might just lose to Blank. No, wins the duel just about.
Somehow Blair got out of that alive. That was pretty impressive stuff. I really thought he was dead. SNH did a great job of defending him and just delaying everyone else trying to chase there. So, big chase. Didn't even cap mid. They were just so committed here. And Lucas is just in.
Mid fight 2, baby. We're just on to a second one, and both medics are popping their Ubers as well. It's going to fade a lot sooner for Arcades. He's going to have to get out of there because he's in harm's way. Stared down by 2 scouts. Nice little surf off the scattergun. Let's get him into safety for the time being, as Boulder is the first to fall for side of NANDEM, but Arcades has eaten so much damage. Eventually, finally gets cleaned up, and these czuraci players are hungry. They've tasted the blood in the water. They know there's a couple more around as well. And if they can keep them under control, and crucially keep Hans under control as he just gets floated away. Alright.
That was like the dirtiest wall shots I've ever seen. Going just like completely denied that entire bomb out of Hans just by wall shots. It was just nasty work.
You're not rocket jumping, buddy. You're not playing jump beef. I don't know, that's a map that people like, right? I don't know, I'm not really up to date with what the rocket jump maps are nowadays. Anyway, a little bit of scuffle here, and Choke, look at that. And it's coming out on top so far for the side of czuraci, actually, in terms of value of material gained here. They still have that Uber ad to work with as well, and would keenly want to use it through here. They have a scout and a demo ready, and Choke breezes in with a deep bomb behind. Arcades left completely alone in the back lines. Means this guy is being a bit of a problem here. Even if they clean him up eventually, and the Uber has come through as well, as they basically force it out of the side of czuraci, with Pandemic still behind being a problem. Salvaging it somehow. NANDEM somehow salvaging it. Could have gone very poorly.
That took a really clutch pipe there to get out of that problem. You don't want to have a scout buzzing around when you're a medic and you only have a demo man protecting you there. So it's a good pipe. Actually, Blank's gonna be the first one in, and no one else was really in there with him, so he just ends up being spammed out really effectively. That's gonna shut down that push at all. I think he was just expecting to get Ubered or everyone else to be in there much more aggressively with him. They were not. He
nice
jumps in again. Perfectly wraps around.
Gets onto Arcades. Beautifully done. Just wrapping straight back around. Arcades eating a bit of damage. Now the counter Christian finally coming out of NANDEM. They know that they have a big Uber ad to work with, but it's slowly fizzled away, and with their players just dying before they can even connect to heals, Arcades eating so much damage as well, having to back off. There goes Lardox and Pandemic, both of them cleaned up, and it's going to be a nice position for czuraci to actually get back in this. Even trade happens, the Ubers are equal now. The players are looking much better for the Czech side, and Arcades might just find himself getting forced sooner rather than later, as Lucas is so close. There you go, finally the Uber comes out. Going to try to get the force out of Blair as well. It's obviously going to be a better Uber for the Czech side. Breeze gets right out on the outside of the Uber, but as it's faded, Boulder gets traded back, and Arcades is caught in no man's land. Unless Hans has a word with it, which he does, gets onto Blair. It's an endless back and forth. It's hard to keep track of everything.
Yeah. So they're trying to contest this point. There's Soldier on the point. That's really good here. SNH is in the area, but he's so weak as well. This time around, actually dies Hans. Gets the med pick, gets the 2 kills to block second point. Hans doing it all here, putting the team on his back. Breeze looks like he wants to jump in. He's been spotted. He's going to get jumped again now. And he's out. He sees Hans, puts his tail between his legs.
That's fair. I think you don't want to mess with Cristiano Ronaldo in his prime necessarily, right? I think that's a fair choice sometimes.
Yep. Unless you're Messi, you don't do it.
Exactly. Unfortunately, they don't have an Argentinian on their team. They're all Czech. And I don't think Czechia's ever won a World Cup before, so they gotta work for it. And at this stage, well, they're looking pretty good on this mid fight. I say as they lose 2 players back-to-back, one of them being Lucas, and Arcades actually getting the frag for himself as well, which is pretty nice, keeping himself alive, crucially with that. as the tides are kind of turning a little bit for NANDEM here. Both teams aren't really committing too much right now, as the point is still in control of czuraci for the time being. Eventually he's going to get capped by NANDEM as they win this fight over the scuffle over the midpoint, and maybe keep that momentum going. They still have a bit of an Uber at. They might know about it as well. Lardox is already in deep. Another bomb. Has to just circle around. Not much done with that, but it's a distraction. It's enough to buy some ground here for NANDEM, and they are rearing to go. They really want to get in here.
Medic's on the high ground right now. It's just the normal passive hold, and you can see they're really trying to spam them out here. And
Hans?
They're not fully committing, but Hans gets in there. Gets some nice rocks there, but Blair does not pop. He has 40 HP. Second soldier
has popped out. Yeah. Even though Lardox wasn't even gonna hit a rocket on him, that's just respect. You gotta respect that one. Can't really blame him for it. It's gonna be a slightly better Uber arcade. He's got Force on the other side as well. We're basically ready for this exchange to go either way, and in terms of numbers, it's actually favoring the czuraci side right now. Arcades goes down as well, means no heals now. If NANDEM want to stay in this, they find a couple of crucial frags to keep themselves in this fight, at least somewhat. But they're gonna lose the war of attrition eventually, unless Hans gets another crazy bomb here onto Blair. Nope, can't connect the rocket he wants to. Blair's disconnected from his team now, but so is everybody else on the other side as Blank finally dies. Lardox is still in this, trying to do something, but he won't be able to commit for too long, and Balder is only there to escort him out as well.
Not having a medic is really beginning to be felt here, as everyone else was just so weak. They really wanted to get onto Blair there and trade out that medic before he got too much protection there. Actually, Elias comes in on the flank, but Scout just immediately shuts it down. Nation hits his shots, protects his medic, and then Pandemic comes in. Two nice pickups there. It's just a trade once again.
One sniper.
Oh, all right. This is pretty rare to see, but we see it every once in a while. He is actually pretty decent at it,
yeah,
I would say.
Oh, peeking through that choke. Not quite going to settle for the Scout. Unfortunately, not going to hit that shot, and at this point, he's been spotted out. He's no longer having that surprise factor. Both scouts are chasing him down. Didn't quite work out. Couldn't quite find the lineup on any priority targets. So it's a gambit that didn't quite work out. Still, at the end of the day, though, NANDEM probably not sweating it too much just yet. They're still up around. It's 20 minutes left on the map. This is plenty of time to play for, but you know, they're not looking too terrible right now. 80%, just about down, 20% down on the Uber. We're gonna get that by the time czuraci is ready to push last, and czuraci are in go gear. They want to get onto this point as quickly as possible. They know that there's not a lot of time to set up for the side of NANDEM. They want to get that Sentry straight out of the way. Blank is dead as well, which means no stickies on the point to worry about. Just a Balder heavy. That could be a bit of a nuisance with the soldiers in the back line as well. At least Hans being a bit of a thorn, but eventually gets cleaned up, and this is a beautiful position for czuraci to find themselves in as they're gonna push into this last.
Both teams have an Uber right now, so they're just putting time on the point here. Both Ubers come out, and they'll just roam around trying to see if they can get any picks here. But see Blank, he's trying to lock them out, but they're not even interested in going out. They want to go back in here. They pick up Lardox immediately. Arcade is down as well. Demoman's not locked as well. Look at that weak push there. It's so beautiful. B was like on spy, ready for the back cap, but no need for a spy at all. He just waddled there for no reason. That's great.
They had that one planned out from like 20 minutes ago. That went perfectly according to plan. Go in super deep, get a lot of cap time early, force the Uber out of the side of NANDEM basically to block the point with. Obviously get a better Uber yourself. Everybody else on NANDEM is just kind of caught out, slowly gets picked off. You kite the Uber a little bit as it fades, re-push onto the point. Beautifully done. czuraci keep themselves up around, tie it up, and now into the next mid-fight. They're not getting shot out immediately as much this time around, so that's already opening things up. And they're going for this cafe side again, but Lucas, again, so much pressure onto that demo already. Eventually gets cleaned up as well. Nobody dying yet on the side of NANDEM. They find Coling and Blair as well, crucially. Means no heals, and with the rest of the players not really being in position to aggress much. Matter of fact, Breeze just dying to Balder now. It's only Nation left alive as he gets flanked around, and it's a beautiful mid out of NANDEM.
We've even got some forward spawn sticky action here once again from Blank. Needs to be careful not to get picked off again. This has happened before.
He's very aggressive. This is usually what Lucas is doing, just being this aggressive, but I guess he's picked the page out of his book. I didn't quite get Coling with that one. It doesn't look like anybody on czuraci is keen to leave last anyway, so not much to go off, I guess. No harm, no foul for either side. It's gonna be on czuraci holding this last somehow against all odds. A full Uber staring them down, ready to go up that side there on the left that they really have to watch out for. This blank is gonna bomb right on through. Sentry gets it when it's upgrading. Still, it's gonna take a little bit to take down, but they do find it eventually. Now it's gonna be on shutting out the players as well, though, getting the frags, and they're not getting them. They lose 2, matter of fact, as the heavies finally cleaned up. But so much pressure onto all these players. Blank getting caught as well. Arcadie's the only one left alive, and there you go. Coling is already on top of that one, so beautifully done. Nice little hold there out of czuraci, and that's going to be a beautiful coast-to-coast opportunity.
Yeah, it just took a bit too long to take down the center gun and the heavy. It's pretty unusual to see a team focus on the players getting all the kills, not putting any pressure on the point, and then not killing anyone. And that's when you know it's a bad Uber, right? Because they were just ignoring the point completely and actually going for the kills, and they didn't get any. Either way, Hans was on sniper again, is going to get traded out here, so no snipes today, it would seem. You know, we saw 0 off classes on Bagel because it's Bagel. We've seen a bit of sniper here so far, obviously a bit of NG. But neither class has really done anything especially flashy so far. Maybe it's just one of those days. Just stay cookie cutter, boys.
Yeah, it's just not working out. Hans picking up the rifle a couple of times, usually with not the best timing, and also just not hitting the most insane clutchest shots you would have to hit, right? Can't necessarily blame him for it, but it's not working out. You're just going to trade Coling for Pandemic and Hans. That's a 2-for-1 deal. I think they're going to be very happy about that one. And they're actually going to use the Uber in here as well. They know Arcadies doesn't have it, and if they can chase him, that's a good pick. Even just getting blank here is still going to make things nice for them. Arcadies is still far from an Uber as well, so if czuraci move quickly here, if they get the second and get into last, they might still have a chance anyway. The spawners are going to be there in time, but there's no shot they're pushing out off of this. There's no shot, right? NANDEM aren't pushing.
Yeah, probably not. I was almost thinking, like, should czuraci actually be pushing in before the Uber came in, but there was just no.
They're going for the dungeon play here. They find the stickies, clear them out of the way. Okay, all right, they're doing this methodically. Unfortunately, they have to now worry about the nation sniper, and he's in perhaps a better position to wreak some havoc here, unless they stay out of his sight lines. And looks like they might just be able to do that still. They give up second for free. No Uber to be popped out of either side here, but now czuraci has theirs, and they're going to be able to respond in kind to whatever NANDEM throws at them as they use their Uber through a cafe very aggressively.
Yeah, they need to get the force out, and they do get that, but Larynx has gone down. They're still being chased. Actually, they're going for the medic. Yeah, there were stickies behind Arcadies as well. I don't think he realized. And this is looking really good for czuraci. Their Ubers have actually been really good so far. Kind of like they were in Bagel as well, but they are eventually going to lose out this fight. But they do preserve their medic, so he's out of there. Still a single soldier in Breeze. Can he make miracles happen? If killing Pandemic is a miracle, then I guess he did, but otherwise, no.
Gonna consider it one of those, fair enough. Now it's on czuraci to try and get back in this though. Still, they're losing the fights here, right? They're wasting a little bit of time, withering it away, working with the smallest of advantages at this point. The margins aren't necessarily large, and position certainly isn't there either. They're still waiting for Breeze to spawn as well, and things are just looking a little dire for them at the time being. They're not quite getting the grounds they need here. Eventually they might get into this mid, but the more time they give NANDEM to set themselves up, and the more they bleed away perhaps whatever advantages they have, they gotta move quickly here. If they want to still make this Uber count, they gotta get into Arcadies immediately, and NANDEM are well aware that that is something that could be coming their way. They're got a couple players fall forward on the flank, managing to maybe hold something off. Lardok's dying, for instance. Hans is obviously in behind, being a nuisance. Maybe even killing Lucas would be a pretty big boon, but doesn't quite get away with it for the time being, as the mid is finally being capped, and it looks like it's just going to be the same situation that it was on second, just with the colors flipped, the roles reversed. czuraci are going to basically get the point with the Uber pressure, and now it's an equal situation.
Well, apart from the down 2 players there, I actually think they might need to just get out of there. Otherwise, the Uber is in danger of just doing very little here. But actually, no, they get 2 immediately here before Ubers even come out. Okay, they have been forced, and player has not popped his instead, so this is kind of like a sack play instead, but I don't think that was what czuraci was going for.
They probably turned it into one halfway through. What a fast roll by Hans there, by the way, just to mention that. Good lord. Unfortunately, nothing to find with that, and it's still an interesting situation by czuraci. The double sack of your crucial classes, especially Lucas going down. I mean, yeah, it wins you the Uber ad now, but you actually have to make use of it. You're still down a point now. Blair gets barely through into mid before having to pop finally. Lucas in with a fast bump. Nice pipe down to Arcades. Can he get the second one? Or like a sticky? Yes, he cleans up that medic. It's crucial to keeping them in this. And again, these czuraci Ubers are just finding their targets. They're ICBMs aimed directly at Arcades' forehead, and it's worked out every single time so far. Unfortunately, Lardox is on the mid to just block the cap, and that's going to slow them down so much.
Yeah, this is so annoying. Like, Jesus Christ. And he's even on the medic here as well, trying to make a play. So, at all times.
Actually, Blair's in danger. He's not a great position at all. Nobody to heal. Left completely alone. Blank in his face. Yeah, this actually turned out quite poorly, quite quickly.
Yeah, stayed in a bit too long there. Couldn't quite make it out. Doesn't matter if Lucas can hit a bunch of shots, but really huge block there coming out of the soldiers. Saving their teams. Arcades is about to have a 50% Uber ad, actually more than that. They cap out this point. Gonna be a sentry going up. It's gonna be all the bells and whistles. They are gonna have time here on czuraci to actually build up a really solid last defense. But still, it's gonna be a full-on Uber ad coming out here for NANDEM. Let's see what they can do something. There's no pyro for them to deal with, so they can actually get in pretty fast. It's just gonna be a matter of can they kill the sentry gun in time and maybe catch out some combo plays, but we've seen some bad Ubers today.
Yeah, Blank immediately getting domed before he can even take down the sentry as the Uber just slowly, for a mere second, fades away. SNH got a nice shot as well. He's finally turned up, hitting those sniper shots when they're required. The one sniper that truly mattered was SNH. There you go. And it's another beautiful hold out of czuraci. Now they just have to manage to get out of here. Hans is already on wallbuck duty, right above. Blank putting down stickies as well. And czuraci still got to be careful about this. They're being tentative. They know that there's a lot of aggression now is going to be coming at their medic. And ideally, they want to keep this Uber in store instead of having to use it. Unfortunately for them, that means SNH is going to die, and they're not going to be able to get the caps here onto second either. As at this rate, might even have to commit going back to last.
Always painful going back to last with a full Uber ad. You don't want to do it, but when you're down players, you kind of have to here. See, Nations is in spawn on Spy. I think he's just checking for off classes here. I don't think he intends to actually move out of it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. And actually, Sendigun gets taken down. That's going to be pretty nice. That means you can actually bomb in there. Actually, take down a soldier as well. Now the door is open to getting onto the medic.
Potentially at least. The Uber does get forced out. They do get it out of the side of czuraci, and obviously Arcades is in no danger whatsoever, and these Czech players aren't going to be really chasing this out either. They're going to try at the very least. Blank does a lot of damage to Lucas, already put himself at the advantage here. Will win that fight. Eventually gets traded out, potentially. Yes, he does, but there's Hans directly onto Blair. 1-2 rockets. The old 1-2 punch is all it takes, and they're right back in this. If there was a chance for czuraci to get out into second here, it has faded away once more, and that's a full Uber ad for NANDEM. So they're looking at another round potentially here, and especially with the defenses not even set up yet for the side of czuraci, this could be a very difficult last hold for them to pull off this time around.
Yeah, just the heat-seeking missile there of Hans, just getting in there, taking down the medic. Okay, they do actually manage to get a full buff on everyone. That's really nice. It's just so many hit points difference here. Oh my god, Blank gets taken down again by SNH in the Uber. That's crazy. He puts on like 2 stickies on the sentry gun, and then before he deads them, he gets sniped. That happened before as well.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. I think they're gonna have to reassess their plans for these Ubers, because they might still get away with it anyway. Lucas dies regardless, right? So perhaps there's still a chance to get some cap time down here. That's gonna force players onto the point. Players gonna eat a lot of damage, eventually get cleaned up as well, and it looks like this is still gonna be a round that converts for NANDEM. They're winning the fights that matter, slowly but surely, but they're not in position really. The heals are slow to come through as well. The war of attrition might just favor them, and eventually they're gonna get this point done, but it's not how they envisioned it. It took a little bit longer than it should have, and Blank dying the same way in these Uber pushes twice in a row is really funny.
Yeah, I will point out that Blank capped the point, so that's how long the push was. He was dying what was called the push to kind of fail in the first place, but then they just maintained the pressure for so long that Blank eventually got in there again and helped cap out the point. So a long fight. NANDEM now, they are ahead 2-1, so looking good for them. There's still 8 minutes remaining in this match, or in this map, I should say. So still anyone's game. for sure. A nice air shot there coming out. I think that was Lardox, denying a soldier. And Blair's just taking a ton of damage, so he's just not even in the fight. Everyone has just kind of slunk back to the own side of mid, except for Breeze, who's behind lines, but everyone else has been bullied out of mid here from NANDEM.
Yeah, they're gonna try to put a little bit of pressure on though. Give their soldier a bit of a window here, and that's gonna make Lucas pay with his life for his troubles as the Ubers starting to come up as well. So this could be one of those mid fights where Ubers get popped before the points get capped, and might not happen after all. They can't commit. They lost too many players, and it's actually looking like this is gonna be another last hold for czuraci because they're getting chased so deep. Blair doesn't even have yet, so even if he's gonna get a lot of pressure on him, can't quite right click in time. Will finally get his Uber, but is already in spawn as Lucas is just trying to hold off this very angry NANDEM team staring him down. With second getting capped as well, NANDEM are really trying to put the nail in the coffin here and secure themselves that final spot for the playoffs this season, but maybe, just maybe, czuraci are going to be able to claw it back anyway.
Uber in, blank. Do it, I dare you. Okay, Breeze was behind lines, he gets taken off. Yeah, so no pressure from the back either. They actually got two soldiers in here on last. Actually gets a nice little pick there on Lucas. They just wanted him dead. I don't know what they have against him. That was just a really aggressive sack on the demo, man.
They probably wanted to go for Blair, but you know, had to settle for the next best thing, I suppose. Still, this is interesting because like this is probably one of the hardest positions that NANDEM has found themselves in. By the way, nice little attempt there by Coling in. Actually, almost gets onto Arcades. But like, it's an equal Uber situation, right? It's the hardest time that they're probably going to have trying to push a last point, but in a weird way, it might also be the easiest, because the defense isn't really there for czuraci as they're trying to maybe even get themselves out a little bit, and they're going to be very aggressive with trying this. Again, Lardox in, does a lot of damage to Blair, getting that medic out of position for a little while, and they might just be hanging in on this anyway. NANDEM somehow bullying themselves basically into this position, just getting everybody out of their way, and once more, czuraci just trying to scramble to set up some sort of defense.
Time is going to come into play here. There's about 6 minutes remaining, and there's about 3.5 minutes remaining before the round resets. So that's 2.5 minutes. You can win a round in 2.5 minutes if everything resets, but it's quite difficult. So they might just want to do it, but actually the big bomb in here into lobby is going to cause Arcades to pop his Uber. There we go. Really nice job by him. That's going to be a big opportunity here. Actually, Balder tries to cause some rockets down under, unable to do so.
Coling going for the taunt as well. He loves to see it. Now czuraci back in the driver's seat. They really needed that change of fates here, that change of winds. Breeze finally getting what he needs to do, and getting that force out of Arcades means czuraci have an opportunity to coast to coast here. Blank and Balder still both dead as well. Means only a couple soldiers to worry about. They're both in cafe, so if you can keep your medic, well, separated from these two, keep a little bit of a wall between them, which you're doing a great job at so far. Lardox already did trade out for Coling. Now it's just Hans, but he's in behind for now, not really in a position to jump right away. And still then, they're just pulling themselves forward here more and more with this Uber in store. They gotta worry about that back cap though. Nobody's really capping on mid, and Hans is starting to become an issue.
Lucas is so weak, but nobody knows. But the back cap efforts are in full effect here. There we go. They take down Breeze as well to clear the doors open. It's just going to be Coling on last. Can he hold this? It's going to be a three players versus one.
Oh no. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Hans sees an opportunity that it's starting to look really dire for czuraci now.
Yeah, 3-1 is very, very different than 2-1. Needless to say. Still got 4 minutes remaining. It's definitely possible to get 2 rounds in that time, but I think we're going to see NANDEM just, anytime they get a chance, just stalemate. Because they only need to stalemate for like a minute to win, right? Because at that point it's too late.
And they're already so fast on mid again, Blank so much faster. This time around, Breeze does manage to get that demo early. It's going to be a nice opener at least. It does certainly give czuraci a chance to hang here, but they have to keep it up with the momentum, and they're losing players. Crucially, Blair going down. They find Arcades at least on the other side, but it's player numbers being in favor of the side of NANDEM means it's only SNH and Coling trying to do their best here, but they're just gonna get overwhelmed with having to deal with so much at once. And with this mid-fight fizzling out as well, the chances for czuraci are fading away more and more. So all of a sudden, it's not looking all that likely anymore that they'll get themselves another round on the board here. It's just not looking that likely.
Yeah, bleeding players here is not what you want. Blair's actually on crit streak. He he knows he has to make something big happen here. And again, I don't think we're going to see much of a play in here. Again, you can just stalemate for about a minute, and it becomes impossible to get 2 rounds in that time. So, yeah, actually, they're going to send in a player. I wasn't expecting that. They're going to send in 2. They just keep on playing aggressive. Oh, but they actually get the medic there and a bunch of other kills as well. So they sack 3 players to get the breeze and the enemy medic. That's actually good. But now they're only 2 players up. Alright, Lucas goes for the big bomb. Or at least he pretended to.
He wanted it. He wanted it so badly. It's an interesting decision, right? At the end of the day, you sack basically your entire team to just get the medic. And when you're already in such a winning position, even if like the knock-on effects of it might be bad for your team, like you gotta give up a point or 2, it's still so good. It's bought themselves so much time now, right? Because they're not gonna have to worry about an Uber for Blair for at least another minute. And with 2 minutes left on the clock, basically czuraci have to teleport onto each point, cap them instantly, get these pushes down to a T as they get the force out of Arcades at least, but again, it's 2 players down for it, and with 2 minutes now, it's just not looking like it's possible anymore, man, especially when they lose more players as well. Still don't even have their own Uber.
Breeze going for the back cap, but there's no one to actually block this. You can even see, like, Logic's just standing there, just looking at him. He knows he doesn't actually have to block it. They just leave Breeze behind, and actually, I like that they're still pushing. They're just pushing into an Uber. They don't care.
Okay. I mean, the crits are working. They got 2, at the very least. It's working out nicely, and it might be a chance to turn things around here if they really, really snowball off of it. At least get themselves around, right? Make it look a little bit closer than it is, but I think the map has slipped away. We've entered garbage time, even if the teams aren't necessarily going to play like it is, and czuraci are certainly looking like if they had turned up like this 5 minutes ago, this could be going to a golden cap right now.
Yeah, indeed. Like I said, he's still hitting every shot, so he's got to have good stats once again here. And there we go. Mid's being capped out. Lucas is trapping forward spawn. We got a pyro. Okay, didn't quite do it right. Arcades almost died there. Just want to point it out.
Funny.
Yeah, he didn't reflect those stickies properly. That would have been actually so funny. There was no need to go for that at all. But oh well, he lives. We got 45 seconds remaining here. We can get around. Let's see if they can get this. Crits comes in.
Oh no.
Oh, stickies and snipers. It's also mean. Stops cold in his tracks. Scouts being crits now. Unable to get in there in time. Even that reflect onto Breeze. And then it's just over. 20 seconds. They're going to try and push out here. I like it. Why stay on last when you can just push? That's more fun.
Secure it even more, right? Don't even give them a round. Get yourselves the, the best possible momentum for the next match in 5 days time or whenever you're going to play it. But hey,
yeah,
it's just nice to have.
Too deep. And it's great. There we go.
They've been playing for stats. Playing for stats, playing for logs, having the fun times of their lives, and there you go. It's gonna be NANDEM moving on into the finals. Something that, well, for a lot of the season wasn't actually even that obvious. I mean, they were struggling towards the tail end, right? They didn't field their A team for a lot of the officials and ended up almost being eliminated from playoffs contention for a while. But certainly showing up now in the playoffs and giving themselves a beautiful chance to actually win the season as well whenever they choose to play their next match. And czuraci still putting up a pretty good fight. Like, all things considered, they still fought for their lives, and SNH did 420 DPM, 40 and 17.
The funny number, he did it. 420, blaze it, go out in a pit of flames. You love to see it. Isn't that the best way to end the season? If we're being honest, dropping a 420 DPM.
I mean,
going
to be
40
fair,
for 17.
Boulder not far behind though. Like, just shy of 400 as well. The 40 kills is quite something. And let me guess, yeah, half of those were on soldiers, basically. He's just always on anti-air duty. That's how it always goes. That's SNH's stats every single match I've seen him play. Much of the same here with every czuraci log I've ever looked at, huh? They all kind of look the same.
Yeah, it's a simple job, but someone's got to do it, and he does it in style. Great stuff. So yeah, congratulations to NANDEM. They make it to the grand finals. When that final is, I don't know, but been fun. Cerny. I think we should just wrap it up and send people to the RGL Grand Finals.
Are those going on right now?
Yeah, it's going on right now, and
perfect.
it's going to be going for the next 6 hours, I believe.
Probably, yeah. They're probably going to be here. There in their venue. I don't know where exactly it is, but it's probably going to run way too late, and they're going to get in trouble again or whatever. I don't know exactly what the rules are for the venue this time around. But we won't hold you much longer. Enjoy NATF2. Enjoy seeing the same map for 90 minutes at a time. That's it from us. GG's, socials. Stay tuned. Finals sometime next week. Bye-bye.